Welcome to We're Talking Bears, the show where uncle, nephew, and son bring you the latest in the Chicago Bears experience. I'm uncle,
I'm nephew.
son missing again.
Mhm.
Hey, kind of like our game plan.
Absolutely. Man, I'm
Frustration,
disappointed.
man, frustration.
The winning streak came to an end this past Sunday. The backup quarterback looked like he was the starting quarterback against us. And you know what? I'll say this. We
That's
knew that
on
we're
us.
absolutely, but we knew, once again, I'm gonna continue to say it until we get through this season. Everything is still new, still a new system. Everything is new for us. Um, I'm not happy about the loss. I feel like it was still a game we could have won. But
Oh, you're breaking up there. you
edge of
the
us, even
internet is
though
losing.
I don't feel like we should have let it happen. I feel like we didn't have our guys out there, the ones that we rely on heavily to make big plays, and the ones who have been coming up big for us. So that's not an excuse because, as we know, it's next man up in football, and I expected those guys to play a lot better, and they just didn't. So
You know what? Let's speaking of next man up. Let's give our props out to Nashawn Wright, who he's been next man up at cornerback all season, and he's played his butt off. He has been out there. He's got it done. Yet Sunday wasn't a great outing for him, but he's had a good season as a Bears corner, and he didn't expect to start. It was supposed to be JJ and Tyreek, and
right.
Smith is supposed to be in the mix. But all of a sudden, you're down JJ, Tyreek, Smith, and Gordon, and you're gutted in the secondary. But again, no excuses. They also didn't have their starting quarterback, and they had a lot of other people that were not starters. A lot of guys were out for them. This is the nature of football in the middle of a season. You have a lot of non-starters out there, and this is people's opportunity to be like a Tyson Bagent, where all of a sudden you secure your position on a team long term. Unfortunately, this week for us, nobody that was in a backup capacity looked great. It was mediocre. It was mediocre football facing a team that has been to the AFC Championship and has enough pedigree to get deep in the playoffs. And even with the backup quarterback, Huntley, he's not a rookie. He's not somebody that's unheard of. He's been backing up Lamar for years. We have tons of film on him. We have no excuses for not being able to handle him. We know he operates that offense the same way Lamar does. So there's just no excuses. We can't. We didn't play. We didn't play. I don't want to say with heart. We didn't play smart. We didn't play seriously. We didn't play the way we should have played if we're going to win. And it starts off with not getting in the end zone when you get a great start. You get a great start. You get two field goals, and that's your entire output for 3 quarters. First 3 quarters, we're averaging 2 points a quarter. That's not going to get it done in the NFL. And in the second quarter and the third quarter, because we had zero output, you had 0 points. That's not going to get it done. You're going to lose.
And I'm not gonna lie, that part disgusted me the most. I'm sitting there watching the game, and people are sitting there watching with some of the guys. They're just talking about the quarterback shredding us, and it's like, dude, if we're scoring the ball, the game is close. Not only is it close, we're actually probably winning
Win it.
because they weren't. I mean, yeah, like I said, we're down some guys. They did make some big plays on us, and sometimes when it was time to get off the field, we couldn't get off the field. But a lot of times they were coming down and getting field goals. We weren't turning the ball over like we did before. And
but we were giving it away.
oh, we gave it away. We gave it away. But I'm just saying they weren't. I mean, if you think about it, it isn't like they did us like the Detroit Lions and came out and just kept putting points on our head. They weren't really. If we're like I said, if we're scoring the football, we win this game. We win this game. But
If we're
like you
scoring the
said,
football, we win this game.
too many empty
It's a
trips
winnable
down the
game.
field. And then, and I'm jumping ahead, but that pick that Caleb threw late in that game is like Monungai is in the flat. Take the check down. I feel like he was wide open. I don't know what was going through his mind, but I like Caleb, but in moments like that, he makes me nervous. He makes me nervous
You
because
know
it's
what?
like
It was a bad game. He did not play as well as he's played this season. He's been off target sometimes this season, but even at being off target, he's made good decisions. A guy I used to coach with, Coach Pinson, he would always tell the quarterback, don't throw late over the middle. You're not surprised when you throw late over the middle that you get picked. You have a bunch of guys sitting back there watching you. Pressure's on. They kind of know when you have to throw because it's getting late. And then finally you toss the ball over the middle. And the second thing on the same pick, Odunze was not running hard on the route. I mean, Odunze is not a slow guy, and that guy just ran right past him. They both cut at the same time. He's cutting to undercut the route. Odunze's cutting behind him, and which that shouldn't happen either. But that's a clear sign that Caleb don't throw the ball. But even if the ball was out, because the ball wasn't out yet. The ball wasn't out yet because it was late getting there. And it was so late that by the time the ball reached the depth where Odunze was, you had a safety and a corner there. And it wasn't that he threw into double coverage, he threw late over the middle and they closed on the ball. And Rome got outrun to the ball. Even if Rome had run full speed, he could have knocked the ball down. I don't believe that corner is that much faster than Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze is not a slow runner. So, and he's not slow out of his breaks. So he's not running 100%. Caleb throws late over the middle. If he had thrown it early over the middle and just a little deeper, forcing Rome to go a little bit further back or to high point the ball, might have had a connection anyway, because the guy's going to undercut it if it's high, almost, which that's scary. You don't want to throw it. You don't want to overthrow him. But if it's a little bit high over the middle and a little bit earlier, you might have still got Rome. But if you throw it late and chest high over the middle, that sucker's gone almost every time. You're just not going to work. You don't throw late over the middle. The only time there's an exception is somebody's running wide open. You're like, oh, then throw late over the middle. It's running wide open, but sometimes that's even fake. But yeah, and Caleb, he was not. I don't know, man. Maybe their defenses were confusing him. I don't know what it was, but he just wasn't seeing it, because that hasn't been his problem. His problem's been accuracy. So his problem has not been not spotting the right read. He spots the right read and he misses the guy sometimes. That wasn't the right read. That was trying to force it into his boy when he needs something. Right. And everybody in the league knows Odunze's his boy.
Right.
So they knew what to do. Converge on Odunze, because that's where Caleb's going. And Guess what he did? He went to a doomsday. You can't. We got to get him. First of all, it was tight end week. We still won't use the tight end. And to speak of it, look at these numbers. When you look at these numbers, you can see that it, it it's not it's not what it should have been. You look, Caleb threw for 285, great, but zero tutties and a pick. Felt like he had more than one pick. Just felt like that, man. It was a bad game, but he threw for 285, which is okay numerically.
He had some
The other
almost picks
problem,
in that game too.
yeah, I know, but the other problem, look at the run output. We ran Swift 11 times. There's unless he's destroying a team, there's no way he's going to get 100 yards that way. We ran Monangai 7 times, same sentence. He's not going to get to 70 or 80 unless he's destroying a team. And then you come back, and then we want to run DJ a couple of times. So you have all this different stuff going on, and what you don't have going on is passing the ball.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was completely disgusted with the offensive output. I was saying the same thing, and it doesn't make sense to me. 2 weeks back to back, Swift rushes for 100 plus yards 2 weeks in a row, 11 carries for 45, a 4.1 average. What's the reason not to give him some more touches?
Right. It's not like if he had 11 carries for 4 yards, you might kind of say, well, we weren't moving we weren't getting anything done. Right. But he had 11 carries for 4. He was averaging 4 yards a carry. That's a normal output in the NFL. Go ahead and give him another 10 carries. Go ahead and make sure Monangai gets at least 10 carries. So you double your run output. You might have had the game, and that equals more first downs, which equals, even think about it like this: as bad as it was to start off with 6-0 instead of at least 10-0. But let's say you start off 6-0, but you move the ball some in the second and third quarter, and you get 2 more field goals. It's now 12. You now put up 12 points. Whereas by the end of the third quarter, they only had 16. So it's 12-16. That's a 4-point game. That's nothing, man. And then we end up scoring 10 in the fourth. If we had another, and part of the reason they got to 30 is because that terrible interception by Caleb, right? So, if you're not in that position, you're not under that pressure, Caleb doesn't throw that. But if you run the ball a little more, you probably at least get a field goal, because that's the other thing. In every win we've had, we have scored in every quarter. We score almost every quarter. There may have been one quarter we didn't score, but we scored every quarter. We didn't score, and we only scored 1 touchdown, and it was in the fourth. But even with that, if we had got a field goal in the second and a field goal in the third, we had had 24 points. I'm sorry, 22 points. So we'd have been in this game. It would have been in one of those 1-point outings, 23-24. All we got to do is march down to get a field goal to take it. So it was extremely winnable. And part of that part of the loss, that straight up is 100% on Ben, because you're just choosing not to run the football, not to run the football. What you got?
I don't understand it, only because of the success he's just had in the last 2 games. After we were talking about how we need the run game to get going, I think Ben Johnson even was saying it wasn't Swift and how the offensive line had to get some things together. And now I don't know what changed this week that he doesn't get the carries that he got the last 2 weeks when he had good output. But I agree that part is on Ben Johnson. I don't know what the thought process is for that. Maybe he thought he was going to catch the other team off guard in some sort of way. But once it's not working, I mean, like you said, we first quarter even the 6 that we did get, we should have gotten into the end zone. We can't. We go down to the red zone way too often and come away with no points.
Yeah, we've got to get better at that. We've got to get part of it. I think we got to get bigger. Honestly, those are the situations where we, bring out Ozzie, bring out that extra. Well, we did try that at one point. Ozzie, he made his block, but he made the wrong decision. He you know what I mean? He's like, if you remember the play, Swift got, I think it was Swift. It was Swift or Monunga. I can't remember who it was, but Ozzie pulled, and he was the 6th offensive lineman. But instead of, he went to the outside guy. And like when you're on the goal line, you want to start inside out. You don't want to create a natural gap because all they have to do is, everybody's there. If one person knocks you backwards, the likelihood you aren't getting in just went astronomical. But you want a wall, right? And so that your running back can pick his hole versus, Ozzie kind of went too far. I'm pretty sure it was Ozzie Trapillo. He went too far. He skipped a man and went to the next man. And the guy he skipped is the guy who blew up the play.
Right.
When you're down there, and that's why everybody gets tight and you make a wall. And if somebody's pulling, you don't go way wide. You hit the neck, you just close it. You appear right behind that left tackle. He's coming around the left side. You appear right behind that left tackle and smash anybody who's trying to turn the edge. And it's up to your guy, it's up to the running back to beat the outside guy.
Right.
And honestly, it's not that hard because you're only trying to get a yard. So all you got to do is dive and squeeze between one of your big guys that are there. So you don't want to take the outside. If you're in the middle of the field, take the outside guy and let your guy race around the end. And because the defender can't, if he sells out, he's giving up a touchdown. He can't sell out and just everybody rush the middle.
Right.
But in the goal line, you can sell out. You
Right.
just say, hey, either we get this or we don't, right? Because it's already late, So, we faced a desperate team. We went into the nest of the Ravens and faced a desperate team. And in facing that desperate team, we didn't understand we were facing a desperate team that has playoff experience. That's what we didn't get.
I knew it.
You had some info for us. I'm going to throw this up. Here we go. Boom.
This is the part.
Boom.
This is what disgusts me. And granted, I'm not gonna lie, we've been playing against the opponent and the referees, but some of these are on us.
Some of these are on us. We've made some mistakes.
The punt,
but the refs
punt they came back because they couldn't get lined up properly or whatever it was. We had a coffin corner punt. We get down there and we have to repunt it again because we just penalties. Like, come on now. Come on. We can't shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah. We had them on the 2. That could be a safety.
And then they turned around and put us on
our
the
bucket.
Then they turned around and put us on the 2. Just like, oh my God.
That you absolutely you gotta that's sloppy football. That's straight up sloppy football. 11 penalties. The other stuff, 372 yards.
How many intentional grounding passes? How many intentional groundings does he have this year through 6 games, 7 games? He has
I don't know, but
he's got a ton of them.
Did you watch Patrick Mahomes? He literally, unquestionably, intentionally grounded the ball, and it took them 5 minutes to try to decide to throw a flag. There was. When I say there's nobody in the vicinity,
I saw it.
Nobody, and Mahomes just threw it into the turf, and they're wondering whether they should call it Caleb. When you think about what they called Caleb's intentional grounding, there was somebody there. He was being hit. There was somebody that direction. You cannot say that if he wasn't being hit, that ball doesn't carry all the way to the receiver.
Right.
Caleb's done that pass a million times. You cannot tell me that if he doesn't get hit, that ball, it may not be the most accurate ball in the world. I didn't say he's always accurate, but he's more accurate on the run. So the likelihood that ball reaches the receiver that was in the path, you can't both watch a guy get hit and then say, "Hey, your ball didn't reach the line of scrimmage, so it's intentional grounding." No, those two sentences don't go together. That's like in basketball, if I foul you and then the ball goes out of bounds off your leg, oh well, actually it's a turnover. That's not a turnover. I fouled you. You called the foul.
No, I get it, and I
it's
know
a
what you're
foul.
talking about.
It can't be
'Cause
a foul and a turnover.
I agree, because I think he had a couple grounding calls on him in that game, and that one absolutely that. Like I said, man, we've been playing the opponent
he's
and the
getting
referees
hit.
every week.
I mean, he's getting hit hard. Now, here's the truth of the matter. As a football player, same thing on Caleb. One, you're going to take the hit. So stand in the pocket and deliver the ball.
That's how I
right?
felt about the pass to DJ.
That's the whole thing. That's the Tom Brady. That's Patrick Mahomes. You're about to take it. You're not going to, he didn't avoid getting hit. He didn't avoid getting popped. He may have avoided how hard he got popped.
Right.
But he didn't avoid getting popped. If you're gonna go, it's the thing we say about receivers. You're gonna get hit, catch the ball.
Right.
Catch the ball. You're gonna get hit. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely, that frustrates me to no end. That the penalties, but also how are they calling these games, and that we still don't get any respect in calls. We still don't get any respect. I don't know what we're doing wrong that we don't get respect.
Chicago
we
Bears,
need to provide better food for the referees, man. They need to have a better spread food, better food and drinks in the referee, better locker room for the refs.
This is kind of off the subject, but it's on the subject. I don't know if you've been hearing about these NBA players who have been getting busted for gambling and game tampering. I think with some of them it was poker, but some of them it was like gambling on the games. Maybe they're paying the refs and we're not. I don't know. Maybe we just need to start greasing their palms and lining their pockets. Pause.
Hey, how much you want to bet that when the referees are in Kansas City, they get to stay in the Ritz-Carlton and get the best barbecue in the world?
Right, I'm sure.
You know what? Our problem, we put the refs up in the travel lodge.
Right.
They're sitting back in the travel lodge. We left them in Gary, Indiana, in the travel lodge.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
No offense to the people out there in Indiana. You know what I'm saying.
We all know what you're saying. And it's the truth, man. I mean, I'm
like,
joking
what's going on?
But I mean,
it's
got to be
something. Marriott right next to the stadium.
Right. And it's got to be something to it, man, because all season long it's been like this. Like, we don't get calls. We don't get the same calls that we watched them call for the other team. And it's ridiculous.
Oh, the other week with the offensive line penalty, and you're sitting there,
right.
You got to be kidding me. You got to. Teams do this all the time, and nobody gets called but the Bears. Yeah, I'm gonna bellyache about this. This is utterly ridiculous. I'm gonna straight up bellyache. Yeah. So, man. Well, that's all I got. You got anything else?
Who do we have coming up next?
The Cincinnati Bengals.
Right, the Bengals. We need to get back on track, man. We need to get back on track. I thought this was a game we could win.
We better stay awake because Joe Flacco is no Joe. Joe Flacco, they almost beat the Packers. They won this week. Flacco knows how to get that ball to Jamar Chase, and man, Flacco's got an army, man. So this
Oh
is
yeah.
no joke whatsoever. Bears versus Chargers. I mean, not Chargers. Bears versus Bengals. We had to get it done. We
Yeah.
had to come out there. We can't play like we just played because again, the Bengals don't know their season's over.
You know
We're
what though?
playing teams. Oh, they know their season's over. Mm-mm.
I'll say this. They let the only team without a win get a win against them. We don't want to be we don't want to be compared to the Jets. If the Jets can beat them, we can beat them, and we need to beat them. And regardless of the Jets beating them, we need to just get back on track, man. We just had a 4-game winning streak. It got snapped this week. We didn't play well. We're hurt. Team was depleted, but now it's time to pick ourselves back up and get back down to business. I don't think this is anything we should sit and dwell on as a team. We're still in a decent spot. Down some guys. We need to come out and ball, and we need to come out and whoop on Cincinnati, take our frustrations out on them for the bad week that we've just had this week. That's how I look at it.
We better play some football, man, because I'm telling you, as much as it's incredible that the Jets won, I'm going to go back and watch that game because, I've been down on Justin. I'm not saying that, but the Jets had to put up 39 to win because the Bengals
No,
put
you're
up
right.
38. If the
You're
Bengals
right.
drop 38 on us, we're not winning. We're
Yeah.
not a team. We get about 24. We need to hold them under 20. We need to get back to our formula. Run the ball.
And you know what?
Caleb,
I'm
calm
glad that you
down.
said that. I hope this can be some motivation for these guys because we didn't run the ball this past game, and it's been working for us. We didn't use the tight ends, like you said, in this tight end weekend. There's no reason we shouldn't be able to put up points. So I'm waiting for us to have a game like that where we can come out and just put it together. Like, yeah, some teams have good defenses and it's a challenge, but we have some weapons. And I'm ready to see us using our weapons.
I'm 100% with you. That is what needs to occur. And you know what? We got a chance. And hey, last year we started 4-2, and then you know what happened. This was a great start at 4-2 again, but it's 4-3 now. We need to go ahead and turn this around, and we need to do something with this. We need to go ahead, and we got to score. We got to hold this team. So we've got an opportunity to go 5-3. And if we go 5-3, bam, we've kind of shaken last year off. We also beat a decent team. The Bengals aren't bad, and
No, they're not.
the Jets played their hearts out. I don't know why you start playing now. It's over for the Jets.
Well,
Go
I'll tell
ahead
you
and
what
get
it
the
is.
first number one
I'll tell you what
overall
it is
draft.
because Justin has been having a rough go, man. And he hasn't been playing well, so I'm happy for him. He's not going to give up, and that's his attitude. And even though it ain't been looking good for him, I like that he's continuing to
It's
play.
been terrible.
It's been awful. It's been awful. And I'm a Justin fan, man. I like Justin in Chicago. I want to see him do well. So I'm glad he's not going winless in the season. I'm happy to see him get a win and at least something to say. Look, I'm not that bad. It's been bad, but I'm not that bad. So I'm happy for him.
I don't want to see him do poorly. I wish the best for him. I really like the kid. I think he brought us, even when we were losing, we were excited. It was exciting football.
Yeah.
It was exhilarating. And then when we won, it was even more exhilarating.
Yeah.
I probably watched more live Justin Fields games than I've watched of a lot of people. They're exhilarating. He exhilarates the crowd when he's doing his thing. Unfortunately, as kind of what the Bears just did, and it's not just him, and it could be he learned it here in Chicago, but you can't just take quarters off. We took the second and the third quarter off in this game, and of course we lost. And, when Fields was leading us, that was happening. I'm not going to blame it all on him, but I'm not going to say it's 0% him, because he did it in Pittsburgh and he's done it in New York. So it's not him, but it wasn't only him, because we're still doing it and he's gone. We just took the second and the third quarter off in Baltimore.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not gonna move the ball. We're not gonna score any points. We're just gonna take a long nap, and we're gonna wake up in the fourth quarter and try to win it. Yeah, okay, that's not how it works. You can't take plays off in the NFL. You might have taken plays off in high school. If you're an incredible athlete, you might could have taken plays off in college, but you can't take one play off in the NFL. You take one play off, that might be the play.
Yep. And we see that with the late turnover in the game, when it was still a game, or when we get down to fit. And you know what? I'll bring this up real quick. That play, and I remember we were talking during the game when Caleb scrambled down the field, and I think he was going to get creamed if he tried to get all the yards that he got. But I still feel like he scrambled for 30-some yards, get out of bounds. And maybe you're going to get creamed because you're trying to get more yards than you should actually get if you're not going to get creamed. If you make a better angle towards out of bounds, a little bit short of where you were at, we get out of bounds, we keep the time on the clock.
Keep the time.
And I don't know. Looking back at it, I really wish he would have done that. But that wasn't.
You're not wrong.
That wasn't the tail of the tape, though. We've got to execute.
But you're not wrong. You're not wrong. He made a lot of bad decisions. That's just a bad decision. Number one rule, end of the game, clock running out, conserve the clock, because at some point you cannot get out of bounds. You don't have the option.
Right.
You have to get the yards. So if you get out of bounds, you give us the chance to get more yards, and you never know which play is the play. You got weapons like the other last week when Swift just broke open, he was gone.
Yeah.
You never know when that play is, or the ball Zacchaeus dropped. That
Right.
We could look and there's nobody behind Zacchaeus, and he's one of the fastest guys on the field. So come on, you get out of bounds. You give yourself, even if you're just like, hey, it's just one more play, but one more play could make the beat. Again, you can't take a play off. You can't take a play off. You can't just, it doesn't matter. Yes, it actually matters. You have to strive for perfection. That's why your entire life is spent practicing for a game that you play once a week. You have to strive for perfection. It was 50, 75 years ago when football players were not I won't say they're not professional, but they weren't full time. They couldn't earn enough money in football to live. They had to have a real job. You know what I mean? And so they could not. They started paying them so the guys could focus on football all the time. This was maybe even 100 years ago. And I think it started in Ohio, where the teams where they started actually paying guys to come in, because local guys they'd be a professional football team, but they wouldn't get paid much. They'd get paid something, right? But then they started bringing in ringers. Like I found this guy in New York. I paid him and brought him into town to play for us, and whoever got in the most ringers would start to win. And so then everybody else started going, well, if they're going to bring in, 4 ringers that they found around the country, I'm going to go around the country and find 5 or 6 guys so I can beat them. And, if you make a guy move, you got to pay him a living wage. So you can't. The only thing you do is football and work out and prepare for football. And then you get out there in a game that's, 20 minutes on the field of actual play, but 3 hours of time. And you want to take some of those 20 minutes off. It's only like 20 minutes of actual play.
Right.
You can't take a second off. You got to play the entire time. It's not 3 hours, because there's huddling and timeouts and halftime and quarter breaks and moving the ball and measuring and all that. It's less than 20 minutes of actual go. You got to go every second.
No, you're right about that. We got a comment here from Brad R. Thanks for tuning in with us. He says Caleb will be fine. He's in his first year with competent coaches and all the talent in the world. We can't keep moving on before we let a QB get experience. I completely agree, and I'm not looking to move on from Caleb. I just like to see.
No.
I just like to see some success in those moments. And he's had some. He's had some. Don't get me wrong, but in a game like that, right, where you start off and you're getting in to the red zone and you're getting field goals. At some point, I want to see it click. You get what I'm saying? Against these guys, with the guys you got on your side, and one of the things that really frustrated me, even though down 10, when Caleb didn't get out of bounds and that whole drive, we're down 10. And even if we score late in that game, we need an onside kick, right, to get the ball back to be able to have a chance to even get the 3 that we need to tie the game up. As tough as that is, on that drive, I need 6 points. I need to get in the end zone. Once DJ caught that one-handed grab, beautiful one-handed grab by DJ, that's down there. He tries to make a play. He doesn't get out of bounds either. Whatever. I think he maybe thought he could fight for it, but regardless, after that, even if it's the last thing we do in this game, we gotta get in the end zone. And for me, that's what I want to see from Caleb. You get what I'm saying? I understand he's a second-year quarterback, and I understand that there's a learning curve to all this. This is his first year in this system, new players, new coaches, new everything. So I get it, but I want to see those types of changes, and I want to see that mind, that quarterback mind from the first quarter when you're getting 3, when you should be getting 6, to the fourth quarter when you're in that same position down there in the red zone. I want to see that. I want to see that progress. That's all.
Absolutely, it's absolutely important to see the progress, but it's also important to make good decisions. And some of the decisions, he's going to learn. He's going to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
What it feels like to face a team that's playing like they're in the playoffs. He's going to learn that. But some of the decisions, like the one you're calling, like get out of bounds. We've seen a million pros not do it, not get out of bounds. And you just sit there shaking the head. Or the guy that gets out of bounds when he's trying to run out the clock, and he got one more yard and he went out of bounds instead of just dropping to his knees. You think about Kansas City in the Super Bowl, and I think it was the Eagles when the guy was that. Am I remembering the right Super Bowl with Kansas City and the Eagles? The guy drops to his knees and the game's over because it is now over. You can't stop the clock because
right.
he takes a knee instead of going in. And you got to make the right decision in that play. Well, I'm Uncle.
I'm Nephew.
We got one more comment coming in as we check out. Brad R is arguing that it's not on Caleb. Hey, it is a running back's job to punch through for the TD. I agree. However, you got to have the right blocking scheme. So, well, I'm Uncle.
I'm Nephew. We're talking Bears.
And we're talking Bears.
Always bear down.
Bear down.